Have you ever wondered how to steam milk silky smooth so it's perfect for latte art? Well, in this video, you're going to learn exactly that. By the end of this video, you're going to be steaming milk like a pro and impressing all your friends with your coffee making skills. But before we get any further, hey, my name's Ivan, I'm a former barista and now I teach people how to make great coffee at home. Now, before we talk about the actual technique that we use to froth milk, let's first discuss what type of milk is best to froth to make latte art. Ideally, you want to be using whole milk or full cream milk because it's high in protein and it has more fats, which makes it much easier to froth. If you're not a fan of cow milk and prefer plant-based milks, you want to get a milk that's advertised as barista grade, like this oat milk over here. Basically, because plant-based milks are typically low in protein, they need to have added thickness added into them, which makes it much easier to froth. If you get straight oat milk, you'll find it's actually pretty much impossible to get the microfoam texture needed to make latte art. So look out for any plant-based milk that's advertised as barista grade, and you'll find it's much easier to froth. Now that we have our milk, we can now talk about the first step of the milk frothing process, which is filling your jug up with milk. This may sound like an obvious step, but it's actually quite important to get the right amount of milk in your jug for the best results. What we want to do is we want to fill up the jug with milk up to the lower dimple or V of the jug spout. This is the ideal position regardless of what type of jug you're using, because these milk jugs are designed to be filled up to this spot for optimal milk spinning consistency. Okay, now that we've talked about what type of milk we should use to make latte art, let's talk about the actual technique itself. There are 3 steps involved in the milk frothing process. Step number 1 is wand positioning, step number 2 is stretching the milk, and step number 3 is spinning the milk. So let's start off with step number 1, wand position. This Sharpie here is going to represent my steam wand, and this jug is going to represent my jug. And the tip of this steam wand is going to be represented by the Sharpie cap. Okay, so what we want to do is you want to grab the steam wand and you want to grab your jug and you want to place the steam wand directly down the shaft of the jug, rotate it 45 degrees and then tip it towards yourself. What you're going to find is the tip of the steam wand is going to be just off center the jug, which is the ideal position you want it to be in. Because when we turn the steam wand on, you're going to find the milk starts spinning in a whirlpool motion. And this whirlpool motion is very important when we're steaming milk. You want it to be spinning in a whirlpool the entire time you're frothing the milk. Now, the tip of the steam wand, you want it to be just a fraction under the surface of the milk, literally half a centimeter or a fifth of the inch, no more. You want it to be just a fraction underneath the surface because in this position, the milk is going to get aerated, and it's this aeration that creates the microfoam needed to froth milk. If you hear a hissing or paper tearing sound like this, it means you're doing a good job. If you hear a sound like this, it means that your wand is way too far down. And if you hear a sound like this, it means that the milk is exploding in your face and you don't want that to happen. Now that we know where to position our steam wand, we can progress to the second stage of the process, which is stretching the milk. This is when we introduce the air into the milk to create the little bubbles that makes microfoam. Now, again, you want the tip of the steam wand to be no more than a fraction underneath the surface of the milk. And because our steam wand is in the correct position, literally all we need to do in this process is just turn the steam wand on and then it will start spinning and stretching straight away, and we don't need to do anything. Now, you want to keep it in this position for about 2 to 5 seconds if you have a commercial or a powerful machine, or if you have an entry-level machine or consumer grade machine that's not as powerful, you may find that this process lasts 10 to 12 seconds. It really depends on how powerful your machine is, on how long you want to be stretching the milk. It's also based upon the type of beverage that you're actually making. For example, if you're making a flat white, you don't need to steam the milk as much. If you're making a cappuccino, you want to froth it for a longer period of time. So it's really a case-by-case basis, and you learn how much foam you need through experience as you go along. But as a starting point, I recommend do it for about 5 seconds, and then you'll see how much foam has been created. And if you don't have enough foam, increase the frothing time. If you have too much foam, decrease the frothing time. So it's very easy, very much trial and error. After we've created enough foam for our type of drink that we're making, we can progress to the third and final stage, which is the milk spinning stage. At this step, all we want to do is dip the tip of the steam wand another fraction under the surface of the milk, so we hear no hissing and no sounds other than the milk spinning and coming up to temperature. We want to keep it in this position, spinning in a whirlpool motion until it reaches temperature, which is 60 degrees Celsius, or I think 140 degrees Fahrenheit. No hotter than that, otherwise the milk is going to burn. Now for latte art, I find that I like the milk to be a little bit cooler, around 50 degrees Celsius, because it creates a little bit of a better texture. I don't know why this is the case. I've just found that when I steam milk a little bit cooler, it flows out a lot smoother. Maybe because the texture of the milk is not as rough. Anyway, so we want to keep spinning the milk in a whirlpool motion until it reaches no more than 60 degrees Celsius. And then we're simply gonna turn the steam off, wipe the steam on clean, purge, and then we're ready to start pouring some great latte art. Now let's put together everything that we learned in this live demonstration. Firstly, fill your milk pitcher up with milk up to the halfway point or lower V of the jug spout. We're going to quickly do a quick purge of the steam wand to get rid of any excess moisture still stuck in there. Okay, and now we're going to position the steam wand so it's just off center the milk jug. Slide it down the middle, rotate 45 degrees and tip it towards myself. Okay, now you can see the tip is just under the surface of the milk, so it's the perfect spot to start aerating it. So when you turn the steam wand on, the milk's going to start aerating straight away, and that's that slight hissing sound that you hear. This is what you want. You want to keep it there until you have enough foam for the type of beverage you have. Then we're going to dip the steam wand back just a fraction underneath until it reaches temperature, which is 60 degrees Celsius, no more. Turn it off, and then we're going to give it a quick tap to get rid of any excess bubbles. Purge, wipe, and now we have some great steamed milk with the consistency of wet paint. That's what you want. Perfect for pouring latte art. Okay, now that we have our milk and our espresso, we can start pouring some latte art. We're just going to do a very brief tutorial in this guide because we're mainly focusing on milk steaming. What you want to do is you want to grab your cup and you want to grab your jug and you want to tilt the cup so it's angling towards the milk jug. You want to get your milk jug and circle the milk to set the canvas. Then once the canvas is set, we then bring the tip of the jug as close as possible to the espresso and start pouring the milk out at a consistent pace. While the cup is getting filled up, we want to at the same time start rotating the cup back so it's in a horizontal position, otherwise the milk is gonna spill out your cup. The reason why we want to tilt the cup when we're pouring latte art is because we can pour it sooner. That means we can get more patterns within the cup at a faster rate, so we can do more complicated designs. However, for a quick Rosetta, all we need to do is angle it, start pouring, shake this side to side while moving it back slowly and rotating the cup, lift, and then follow through, and you get a nice little Rosetta like this. And there we have it. You now know how to steam great milk, perfect for latte art. If you found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more coffee making content. And if you have any questions or want me to help you troubleshoot your milk steaming skills, leave a comment below or tag me in a video and I'll come back to you with my feedback. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.